Good morning, everyone, or I should say good afternoon. It is finally after 12 o'clock p.m. here. All right, we got ourselves a great show, and we are, there we go. Much better. We are ranking pull day lifts today. I thought this would be a really good idea, and technically this is a consultation. Someone kind of inspired me to do this, but it's more something I'm doing for myself, so I'm not charging them. If you'd like a consultation, askbullmuscle@gmail.com, right up there. Ask me anything. It can be about diet, exercise, personal finance, dating, philosophy, you name it. And I'll happily answer your question for a consultation. You can either pay a small fee or plug my channel. That's I don't like giving free advice because I found people don't listen to free advice. Anyway, oh, lovely. Got myself a nice little let me adjust the mic there. Perfect. Got myself a nice little lime ginger tea. It's iced and it's just refreshing. As you can tell by the rather red complexion of my face, I've been out for a run. And before that, I was out for a lift. So, been busy today. So this will be the first of 3 different series I do tier ranking different exercises. Today, today we are ranking pull days. So, let me just check one more thing real quick. We are live. Awesome, yes we are. Great. Yep, cool. All right, I thought we were, I just wasn't sure. We're gonna go and we'll get started. So, pull day. Why am I splitting it up into 3 different streams for push, pull, and squat? Well, the first is because that's how I generally lift. I do a push-pull leg split. There are plenty of other excellent splits out there. You can do a whole body, a bro split, a Arnold style split, a upper-lower split. I like push-pull leg. My body seems to respond pretty well to it, and I like having more days in the gym anyway. Generally speaking, I only need 1 to 2 rest days a week. And even on my rest days, I often end up doing quite a lot of cardio. Not really so much because I intend to, but because it just sort of happens. I do enjoy occasionally going for a run, which is what I did this morning. Anyway, let's get into it. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with our S tier exercises. Or rather, let's define what these different tiers are, okay? Starting with S tier. So for those of you who don't know what tier ranking is, 1, welcome to the internet. And 2, it basically boils down to, I think the original genre to do it was Super Smash Bros. Characters, where different tiers give you different ideas of like how good a character is. Like the best of the best is S tier, and the worst of the worst is F tier, with A, B, C, D, F somewhere in between. Now, as this applies to lifting, S tier for me are the gotta have them in your workouts. As an example of this, right, to me, these are the workouts without which it does not feel as though you are doing a complete job of working out. To me, they're just, you gotta have them in some way or another in your workout. They're critical and you need them. A tier workouts they're really great. You know, I would say if you can get them at all costs, do it. But as long as you're hitting the S tier workouts, you could get away with them and it probably wouldn't be the end of the world. You're probably missing out though by not doing the A tier exercises often enough. B tier exercises are more good specialization or finisher workouts. Things you can do, towards the second half of the workout where, inevitably you're not going to have quite as much energy. You might be looking more at hypertrophy-oriented workouts at this point, or good things to work specific arms or focus areas. C tier workouts or C tier exercises for me are ones that I'll do occasionally for good variation and muscle confusion, but they're just not my go-tos. D tier workouts are ones where I feel it's just kind of awkward, or I just don't feel a very good mind-muscle connection, and I overall just don't feel like I get a lot of value out of the exercises. And anything in the F tier are just exercises I think are wastes of time or that you really just shouldn't do unless you have no other options. Or that, they're dangerous, basically. So there you go. I've explained the different tiers. So let's go ahead and start off with a couple S tiers. With a pull day, okay? There are two major types of pulls, okay? They're your vertical pulls and your horizontal pulls, okay? So the first one's going to be your vertical pull exercises. And it should come as no surprise that pull-ups are in the S tier. Pull-ups, okay, they work. Let me get the right part of the camera here. A good pull-up will work your lats, that's right here and right here. It will work your biceps, and they will work your rear delts, right? So pulling, obviously, right, you have a bar, and you pull up, and then you come back down. The great thing with pull-ups is that you can do variations on them. You can do narrow grip, you can do wide grip, you can do pauses, you can pause at the top, pause at the bottom. You can do a slow eccentric decline where, you come up to the top, you explode all the way up to the top, and then you slowly descend. You can do weighted pull-ups, you can do assisted pull-ups, depending on how much stronger or weaker you are. Really, I think if you are doing pull days and you're not getting pull-ups into your workout in some form or another, what are you doing? Come on. That one's, again, pull-ups are kind of a must. That one, to me anyway, you gotta have it. If you're doing a pull-up or if you're doing a pull workout without some form of pull-ups or vertical, that to me, you're missing a big one. Okay, now the second one, y'all are gonna think I'm gonna say barbell rows, and the answer is actually no. I prefer I love the barbell row, and we'll put the barbell row in A tier. But it is not the absolute best of the best. And why am I going to say that? Well, the barbell row is without a doubt an absolute staple exercise. I do it very often. I usually I split my pull workouts into vertical dominant days and horizontal dominant days. So horizontal dominant pull, right? Well, what's that going to look like? It's a bent over barbell row. However, a really good machine chest supported row. The best ones are where you're even, you're leaning a bit forward or even you're close to, 45-degree angle. But a really good chest supported row, the reason I'm putting this in S tier over a barbell row is with a barbell row, even with the best of form, the strictest of form, by the last couple reps or so, you're gonna start cheating a little bit. You're gonna start wanting to bend over a little bit too much to try and get the weight up those last few reps. And I find that it's not quite as good for isolating the lat muscles, your latissimus dorsi, really getting a good squeeze at the back of those. Whereas at the chest supported rows, I do feel that those are really good. So this is one of the rare times I will actually advocate for a machine exercise or a plate machine exercise. We're going to go over a standard barbell exercise. That being said, the barbell row is excellent. It's really it's the horizontal cousin. It's basically the horizontal equivalent to the pull-up. I strongly like it. But for me personally, my lats are always screaming after a good chest supported machine or plate row set. And the best thing about that too is that for those, what I like to do is barbell rows I'll go a little bit heavier on and really focus on the explosiveness. And then chest supported machine or plate rows, I'll do more 10, 12, 15 rep range and go for hypertrophy. And a lot of the times I'll wear straps for that, so that way my forearms don't fail before my lats do. By the way, as we go along, if you want to suggest an exercise for me to put up here, by all means. We're going to go through a bunch of pull exercises, so don't worry. In the meantime, let's see here. Other ones we're going to do. Personally, I think the preacher curl is the best bicep exercise. You know what? Hang on, I'm going to do this. So to me, by the way, chins, while they are more bicep focused, a good chin will also hit your back as well. I'm a huge fan of alternating pull up, chin up when I do a set on my vertical pull days. So to me, it's not that they're one and the same, but that I do them in the same, couple of sets. So for me, in effect, that's how I treat them. I would say pull-ups are better than chin-ups if you had to only pick one. But, I mean, really all you're doing is flipping the way your hands are gripping the bar. So, just my opinion. I really like chins. Chins are terrific for your biceps especially. So short of chins, the best bicep workout, and to me the best type of curl, is the preacher curl. The reason for this is that it is the ultimate isolator. So preacher curl, you have a 45-degree angle pad. You have usually a curling bar, which has, it's sort of like squiggly, right? And that squiggly bar is going to allow you to come down to about here. And because your arms are resting on the pad, you're really isolating your biceps. I feel like I get a tremendous pump from this exercise. My biceps screaming after this exercise, and my forearms are usually screaming after this exercise too, as an added benefit. So I strongly recommend preacher curls. I think they're very, 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 very good. All right. Other A-tier exercises, let's see here. Much for the same reason that I like the preacher curls, I like the incline dumbbell curl as the best variety of dumbbell curl. Incline dumbbell curl works in the same way that a preacher curl does. The difference is that the weight is behind your body, but right, if you're sitting up straight, you get that as your motion. But by going on an incline, the elbows are behind your body, and it really, to me, allows for better stretch. The best thing you can do is, instead of just doing incline curls like this, sort of just straight forward, cant your wrists outward and go like that. When I do this, I get an insane stretch on my biceps at the bottom end of the lift. These, by the way, incline dumbbell curls, don't do these for sets of 6, okay? If you want to do that, you're better off with a preacher curl or with a standard barbell curl. But for sets of, again, 12 to 15, incline dumbbell curls are the best dumbbell curls. Just my opinion. What other A-tier exercises do I have? Okay. One more. So, T-bar, landmine. So the T-bar and landmine row. The T-bar and landmine row works kind of the same way that a bent over barbell row does. However, the difference is that the bar is on one end fixed to the ground. So because of this, you're gripping from one central point as opposed to on the outside. What this allows you to do is really squeeze the lats at the top. I feel like I get a tremendous pump from this workout. Guys like Ronnie Coleman swore by it, and look, I'm no Ronnie Coleman. You got to listen to guys like him when it comes to advice like that. Dude was absolutely a legend. So I find that I get a really good squeeze from these. I find that with T-bar and landmine rows, those are kind of like barbell rows for me. That 6 to 8 rep range, really, really good for just maximizing, going absolutely crazy with the weight. Really try to get that explosiveness, but still try to squeeze at the top. Okay. Loki Vandalized says every day is back day, baby. For sure. Do we have anybody even watching right now? It does not look like we do. All right. Shows me how much y'all are interested in that. That's fine. I'm doing this for myself anyway. Slightly disappointing, but what you gonna do? Okay, now let's move on to the B tier. The lat pull down machine. To me, everything a lat pull down machine can do is slightly worse than the pull up. Now, the benefits to the lat pull down machine is that much like the chest supported machine or plate rows, you can do, you can fix yourself. You're locked in, you're pinned in. So it does allow for more hypertrophy in that sense. You can't kip, right? With pull-ups, you got to rely on your own discipline not to kip. In the same way with a barbell row, you got to rely on your own discipline not to come up with your back. However, I've always felt like I get a much better pull at the bottom with pull-ups because I'm hanging off the ground and my own body is hanging off. Whereas with the machine, it's just it's a steady weight. For whatever reason, I just feel like I get a slightly better pump with pull-ups than the lat pull-down machine. However, if you can't do pull-ups and there isn't an assisted pull-up machine, the lat pull-down is an absolutely acceptable substitute. It gets the job done. You will see results if you do it properly. And much like a pull-up, you can use different grips, narrow, wide. You can do, holding it at the bottom. You can do it very slow, eccentric. There are a lot of similarities. I just personally like pull-ups more. So this is one thing I want to talk about, okay? A lot of times you'll see guys on the internet, YouTubers on the internet, far bigger YouTubers and far more educated YouTubers than me, say, oh, this is A tier because blah, this is S tier because blah, this is F tier because blah. And this is one where I will slightly criticize the science-based guys, Nippert in particular. I really like Jeff Nippert, but I think sometimes he and the other science-based lifters let the perfect be the enemy of the good, and there is some part of this that is individualized to the person. It's a feeling thing. So for some people, different exercises feel really good, and they feel, when I mean good, I don't necessarily mean they feel easy. I mean that they feel like you have an excellent connection between your brain, which is operating your body, and the muscles being operated that we're trying to work on. For me, I particularly feel a lot more use from the pull-ups and chin-ups than I do with a lat pull-down machine. Anyway, but a lat pull-down machine, still very good. You can make a lot of progress with it. There's nothing wrong with it. Any of these exercises that I've listed so far, excellent. Another one. All right. The face pull. So the face pull is a really good rear delt exercise. What you want to do is you want to go to a cable machine and find a rope attachment or some other form of attachment that allows your hands to be fairly close together. And, well, there we go. You simply pull towards your face, right? What does that do? Well, you know what? Straddle the seat this way, right? You pull towards your face, really works your rear delts. And you can do this from a higher position, you can do this from a lower position, and there's a lot of really good flexibility, or there's a lot of really good way to do it. Now, I personally, my biggest drawback with this one is that a lot of the time you're best off doing this seated, and you may have to go and steal a bench from a dumbbell area to do that. Standing face pulls aren't bad, but naturally, if you're doing a standing face pull, okay, you are going to be you're going to be pulling the weight towards you, which means naturally you're going to want to lean to counteract it, because otherwise you'll lose balance, which can detract a little bit from the hypertrophy you're trying to get. So that's probably the biggest reason it only rises to B tier, but it is still a very good exercise, and I do it very often. Okay, let's see here. Oh, I completely missed this one. I don't know how I missed this. Shrugs, right? How do you work your traps? Well, you shrug. That's the most obvious way to do it. Now, you can do these with dumbbells, but in general, I think barbells are a little bit better. While the barbell doesn't allow you to do it on your sides, the dumbbells, the trouble with the dumbbells is you usually need to do it at fairly heavy weight, and so you're going to be expending a lot of energy just getting the dumbbell up and ready, whereas with the barbell, it can be static. You can just pick it up and shrug, right? The other thing I really like about the barbell is you can do a behind the butt variation. What I have found is that if you are doing behind the butt style shrug, you get a really great effect on the backside of your traps in a way that I haven't really been able to replicate with any other style of trap exercise. So for me, I'm old fashioned. I like the barbell shrug the most. Dumbbell shrugs are good, but again, I feel like you end up spending a lot of, you exert a lot of effort just to try and get the dumbbell out of the rack. Just because, again, with shrugs, the range of motion is not very big, which means you are going to be expending a lot of energy, because of that, barbells, it's just very conducive for that. What was the other one? Oh, yeah. The other one for traps is the upright row. So the upright row, very simple. You are usually standing. You have a barbell. You bring the barbell up. You come back down with it. This works your delts as well. And usually with push and pull, your deltoids are kind of going to get worked both days. That's kind of just the reality of it. But upright rows, I still feel them very good in the traps. Maybe it's because I just really squeeze the shrug at the top. If you do that, you definitely get a little bit more oomph out of the upright rows than you otherwise might. Okay. Let's see here. What other ones did I have in B tier? This is a good one. The Meadows row. So the Meadows row is basically a single, it's similar to the T-bar or landmine row, but you're doing it with a single arm. I find that if you do this properly, and you're going to want straps because you're gripping the fat end of the bar on the edge, you can look up how to do the Meadows row. It's kind of hard to replicate here, but you get an incredible stretch on your lats. The downside is that it takes longer because it's a single arm exercise. So in general, I don't love single arm exercises just because they do take longer, but this one feels really, really solid. All right. Let's see here. What other ones we got? The good old-fashioned barbell curl. It's simple. It gets the job done. I do think with a conventional barbell curl, you're somewhat limiting your range of motion, whereas with the preacher curl, you get a little bit more out of it. I don't think the barbell curl is sort of a jack of all trades exercise. My biggest downside, honestly, with the barbell curl, it would be an A tier. It actually would be an A tier exercise. But unfortunately, there are fuckers out there who insist on curling in the squat rack. And when you do that, you piss me off. Period. Don't fucking be that person. Just do that. Gonna shorten some of these because I think there's actually one more I wanted to add to this. And that is the dumbbell curl. The dumbbell curl is the same as the barbell curl. It's great. It gets the job done. There's nothing wrong with it, and you can make tremendous gains with it. I just personally think the preacher curl and the incline dumbbell curl are superior. All right, let's move to C tier. Bent over lateral raises. This is a good exercise to vary in. Hey, let's see who we got there. We got Writer Expanded. Welcome on in. Happy Christmas Eve to you. So, bent over lateral raises. What you're doing here is you're usually taking 2 dumbbells, you're bending over, and you're coming out like this. It works all right for the rear delts, and it works all right for the lats, but the motion is kind of awkward, and it's one where I never prioritize that. You know, I'm never going into the gym saying, "Oh, I'm so excited to do lateral raises today." But it's a nice kind of second half workout. This we got hammer curls. Hammer curls are terrific if you want to get a little bit of an ego about the dumbbells you can lift. And they're fine. They work your forearms a little bit more than, you know, a traditional dumbbell curl might or a preacher curl might, but it's at the expense of your biceps. With an incline curl or with a preacher curl, you're really getting a lot of good motion. With a hammer curl, a little bit less so. That. I forgot to add one more to the B tier. Hang on. Shoot. Is that everything? Yes. Okay, perfect. So the barbell reverse curl. Let's talk about this one. I know where to go with, actually. There we go. Barbell reverse curl is, to me, if you're going to do a reverse curl or a curl where your dominant focus is supposed to be your brachioradialis, your forearms, the barbell reverse curl where you've got the curling bar is the best because it gives you that really nice 45-degree angle on the bars, which prevents you from bowing out your elbows like this. I personally feel like that works really well. You can do this with a straight bar. Again, I feel like a straight bar, it's a little bit more awkward. You're more likely to bend your elbows out like chicken. The key for a good reverse curl is that your elbows need to stay tucked in. And for me, like just naturally, my hands are kind of coming at this 45-degree angle. They're not like this, and they're not like this. They're kind of in the middle. And a curling bar gives me an instrument that naturally kind of fits where I want to keep my elbows at. So if you're going to do a reverse curl, I would say it's not necessary, but the best one is the barbell reverse curl. Anyway, single arm Bayesian curls. I'm not a huge fan of the cable curl, the cables in general when it comes to biceps. I just don't quite feel like I get as good of a control over the motion that I do with a dumbbell. Now, the pros to a cable machine are that the weight is the same the entire time. So, right, you can do this with a cable, and ideally, right, the tension here is the same as the tension here. And I think because the Bayesian curls are single-armed, you can really focus on that a lot. That being said, are they critical or necessary? No, but I do throw them in fairly regularly as a way to confuse the bicep a little bit, get it away from the dumbbells. But in general, I'm not a huge fan of cable curls. So that's actually going to be my first D tier item. That's going to be both cable curls and reverse cable curls. Just not my, it's nothing against them. It's just I personally never felt like the mind-muscle connection was as good there. It just feels awkward to me. I've tried it with a lot of different machines. I just don't really love it. Let's see here. Oh, we got someone pinging me in Discord. There we go. There we go. Cool. Anyway, so where were we? Okay, more C tier exercise. I've got quite a few more C tier exercise I want to go with. The single cable pull down, or single arm cable pull down. Now I do this exercise and I actually get an absolutely terrific pump from it. It's a really good finisher. I typically do it kneeling because that way I can extend all the way up, grab the cable at the top, and then squeeze, right, like that. To me, it's really good. I do like that. And I even use a strap sometimes to ensure my grip doesn't fail. Took exactly 1 minute to reach you out there. Nice. But the downside to the single cable pull down, of course, is that much like the Meadows row, it is a single arm exercise. And as a result of that, it is going to take you longer to get through it. You really, with that, the whole point of a cable, you really got to squeeze at the bottom. So it's going to be one where you're going to want to take your time on every individual rep, which means sets can drag on for like a minute to 2 minutes. And it's just, by the end of it, you're like, okay, where's the burn? And you do eventually get it, but it takes forever to get there, even if you use heavy weights. So single cable pull down, I do it, but it's one where I would say it's not necessary. You can get the same effect from a standard lat pull down machine, no problem. What other ones do we have? See here. Waiter curls. So a lot of streamers, fitness YouTubers, and experts hate on the waiter curl. The waiter curl or single dumbbell curl is where you hold a single dumbbell like this. Usually I recommend standing. You come down with it, you come up with it. Now, I don't know about you guys, but you can already see, right there, you can see a massive pump just from this exercise. So I like to use this as a finisher. I don't recommend doing more than one set of this, but if you want to finish, do like a burnout kind of thing instead of running the rack, if you just want to do like a set of 20 to 25 on your waiter curls, you get a really good pump if you do them correctly. Bend a little bit forward. I personally feel like I get a great pump by the end of it. It feels really good. But again, is it one of those you got to do this every single time? Absolutely not. But I think waiter curls get a little bit more of a negative rep than they ought to. I think they're perfectly fine. Another one that is kind of similar to the waiter curl, actually it's more similar to the single arm pull down. The concentration curl. Much like the waiter curl, you get a really good pump and really good focus on the concentration curl. One of the things I really love to do are myo reps or half reps, where I finished, I can no longer get the rep up on the concentration curl, and I'm really struggling. So I take my other arm to finish it up, and then I just fight the eccentric. Excellent in terms of getting a pump, excellent as a finisher. Predictably though, like the single cable pull down, a set takes a long time because you're doing each set or each arm separately. So that is a downside. But again, you can get great results with concentration curls. I wouldn't recommend doing more. To me, again, a concentration curl is a finisher. You shouldn't be doing more than one set of them, maybe two at the end of your workout. Concentration curl it's not the time to be doing like, a 6 rep set either with stupid heavy weight. That one's, you want to be in the 12 to 15 to 20 rep range, really burning it out. So, but it's a good exercise. It's C tier exercises, again, they're not bad. It's just that they have some flaws about them, and usually there's a better variant for the bulk of your workout. But they can have their uses. Go ahead and just pull that down a touch. There we go. That's much better. Okay. Sorry, just looking on the other lists that I've got here. Actually, we'll have our first F tier item here. Cable shrugs. No. Look, the cable machines are great, but this is best left for dumbbells or for machine or for barbell. With a cable machine, right, it's going to be very difficult to find a way to do this, because you're either going to have to use that weird bar attachment where, you know, you're going to have to either scoot it out in front of you, at which point it's going to be awkward as hell because it's going to be pushing you back. You're not just pushing you up or pulling you down. It's going to be pulling you back as well. There's no real good way to do it from the side. You can take the individuals, but again, if you do that, the cable machine's biggest flaws is that typically each side is limited to, you know, somewhere around the 90 to 99 pound range. And with shrugs, the range of motion is so small that, you know, a lot of people can shrug quite a bit more than that. So in the same way that you might have this issue with dumbbells, you get to the point where you really can't get a whole lot out of this. You can outgrow a cable shrug, unless you've got a really good cable machine with much heavier weights than most. But in general, for me anyway, I never do them because, well, it wouldn't be very useful. Okay, couple other ones I want to throw in here. Ooh, this is another B tier one. I'm gonna actually put this one in here as a difference from the dumbbell shrug. The incline shrug is where you are doing a shrug with your chest down on an incline bench press. The idea here being that you're going to work a lot more of the rear parts of your trap muscles and a little bit of your rear delts as well by doing the shrug at an inclined angle. I've found a lot of use in that, and the nice thing about this one is that one of the problems with dumbbell shrugs is, unless you go to a serious gym, you might run into the fact where you're outlifting the dumbbell shrugs, right? You know, if the maximum size dumbbell is 100 pounds and you can sit there and do dumbbell shrugs all day, you can hold them for 3 seconds a piece and you're still hitting sets of 15 with no real issues, well, you're kind of SOL. An incline shrug is going to throw a wrench in you. You're going to end up going back down to 80, 85, 90, and it'll allow you to extend the amount of time for which dumbbell shrugs can be useful. So I'm a huge fan of incline shrugs as a good variation in there. Got another one here. What's the other? It's going to be hang on a second. Lost my place. Wrist curls. Wrist curls are, they're a fine exercise. They get the job done. Oh, we have ran into a small problem. There we go. We're going to try and perfect. Okay. So wrist curls. Wrist curls are great. You can do them with barbells. You can do them with dumbbells. You can do them underhand, or you can do them overhand. They're great, and they can hit up your brachioradialis. However, a lot of the time, your forearm muscles, your brachioradialis, you're going to end up hitting them pretty good after things like pull-ups, or barbell rows, or lat pull-downs, or preacher curls. And by the time you get to doing wrist curls, they're already going to be pretty cooked. I recommend doing them if you want to really wreck your forearms. But are they strictly necessary? Nah, you're going to get them from any pulling exercise you do, because most pulls are going to require grip strength. And when you grip, well, what are you doing? You're tightening up your forearms. So are they nice? Are they a nice optional extra? Yes, that's how I would treat them. Croc rows. All right. The croc row can be a really good exercise. However, the croc row suffers from the same problem that a Meadows row suffers from. Croc row is where you take a dumbbell, you're usually leaning on a bench of some kind, and you're using your torso to really bring the dumbbell up explosively. My problem with the croc row is not that it's a bad exercise, but that when you're going for explosiveness, you're only going to have enough power. The whole point of a croc row is to do it at heavy weight and really use that explosiveness. It's a single arm exercise, so you're going to have to do it to both arms. You are going to be more tired just because you're taxing your central nervous system with that kind of an explosive movement, that by the time you're getting to your other arm, it's never going to be as strong as your first arm. So you have to alternate, or you have to accept that one arm's going to get bigger than the other, which I'm not a fan of. If I'm going to do something along those lines, I'd sooner do a Meadows row with a T-bar or landmine than a croc row. However, if you want to do something similar to a Meadows row where you have heavy barbells, but you don't have a landmine attachment, a croc row is a great substitute. Much in the same way that I will put croc rows here. Single arm dumbbell rows. It's more or less the same thing. The difference is that a croc row, you're using a lot more explosiveness. The single arm dumbbell row, you're a lot more static. You got one knee on a bench like this. You're leaning on the bench and you're just going more vertical with it. That's the big difference. Ultimately, again, I like them, but they each take a lot of time. Getting the heavy dumbbell all the way over there, because with a single arm dumbbell row, it's still going to be very high. With a croc row, actually, I'm gonna move croc row down to D tier for that reason. Because with a croc row, because you're using so much in the way of explosiveness and power, you're gonna need to do this at high weight. And for a lot of people, you may not have a dumbbell that is heavy enough to properly do croc rows. For me, if I want to do croc rows, I need a dumbbell north of 100 pounds to really get the most out of it. Well, the problem is a lot of gyms don't have dumbbells that heavy. Some do, but a lot don't. And for that reason, a single arm dumbbell row, you still get the same lat squeeze, but takes a little bit less heavy dumbbell, and you can, because you're kind of in a fixed position, you can focus more on hypertrophy, go for more reps. Again, the croc row being more timed for explosiveness. For me, explosiveness, a bent over barbell row can do the same thing that a croc row does, or a T-bar landmine row can do the same thing as a croc row does, but you're using both arms and you can, you don't have to alternate. Again, a D tier exercise does not mean it's bad. It means I'm just not a huge fan of it, or it's got a fairly major flaw in the game, which means I don't normally do it. Cable shrugs are just kind of shitty. Oh. Cheat curls. Okay, how many people have you seen in the gym doing shit like this? You've seen that one guy. He's ego lifting and he's probably gonna get himself hurt. A cheat curl is entirely unnecessary. If you have to cheat on every rep, the weight is too heavy. Curb your ego and go down weight, okay? Your biceps are just not very large muscles. you're just not going to be curling shit tons of weight. It's overkill. Now, let's talk a little bit about body English and cheating, okay? If you're cheating on the final rep or final 2 reps of a 12 rep set, that's okay, okay? A little bit of that, a little body English, a little cheating, it's okay to have that occur if you're really just pushing it, you're really getting close to failure. Your form is going to break. A little form break is natural if you are going close to failure. That's okay. Now, if you are using a little form break and you're doing myo reps, you're really controlling it on the way back down, that's a lot more useful. The people who do cheat curls aren't doing that, and we know they're not doing that. The people who are doing cheat curls are just swinging the weight around. What they're doing is they're turning a good bicep exercise into a bad biceps and back exercise. So don't do cheat curls. And of course, okay, the biggest sin in the gym, above them all, okay? If you curl in the squat rack, fuck you. Simple as. Don't curl in the fucking squat rack, okay? There is no faster way to get people who want to get people in the gym to want to punch you in the face than curling in the squat rack. Don't curl in the squat rack. Don't curl in the squat rack, okay? And one more time for all of you, do not fucking curl in the squat rack. Don't do it. Don't curl in the squat rack. I'm adding Lab Boys TV in here because he trolls me with that, and he knows. Don't fucking curl in the squat rack. Don't fucking do it. No. Bad. I'll whack you. Hit you with a newspaper. Don't curl in the squat. Don't curl in the squat rack. No. No. Do not curl in the squat rack. Okay? Don't do it. Bull Muscle told you not to. Don't fucking curl in the squat rack. Cannot emphasize that enough. There we go. I believe that's all the pull exercises I had. I just need to check through a few others. Oh. I think they're called Zotman curls, where you do it's like a twist. Like you start overhand and you come up underhand, something like that. To me, that's just a lot of extra mechanical motion. While I like that for an Arnold press, it just kind of feels awkward for a barbell curl. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just, again, not a fan of the way the movement feels. Seeing if I feel like I'm missing a couple here. Let's see, what other trap exercise? We did shrugs, we did incline shrugs, we did barbell shrugs. We did upright rows, cable shrugs, yeah. It's not really that many there. Actually, I'm gonna move dumbbell shrugs to C tier, mostly because it's got the same issue croc rows do. For me, a lot of the time, proper dumbbell shrugs require north of 100-pound dumbbells, and that becomes harder to find. Let's see here. The cable cross. That's a good one. It's not bad anyway. It feels good on rear delts to do the cable cross, right? Where you're coming across, you're coming down. But the downsides of the cable cross are you need both sides of a cable machine, which can be impractical, especially if the gym is crowded. And to me, there are better ways to hit your rear delts, lats, and back muscles in general. So traps, lats. Yeah, so this is pull day. So for me, pull day is traps, lats, to an extent, rear delts and biceps. Let me see if there's any. I'm going to go through my previous lists and see if there's any I've missed. Let's see, concentration curls, I got those. Dumbbell curls, I got those. Barbell curls, I got those. Incline curls, yes, yes. Meadows rows, single arm pull downs, cable cross, regular pull downs, chest supported rows. Oh, cable rows. These are often pretty good, like the cable row machine where you've got, you're usually sitting, your legs are pressed up against a plate, and then you're reaching over to grab a cable, and then you're rowing. The trouble with this one is that, this is why, to me, it's a good exercise, and you can get great lat work done with it, but you are not getting the same chest support, which means your propensity to cheat is a lot higher. With a chest supported row, cheating becomes very difficult. The chest supported row, when you have it extended out, you're getting pulled towards the chest support. So it's a lot harder to cheat. One other A tier exercise. Seal rows. Seal rows are absolutely as good as a chest supported machine row, if not even better. The trouble is that finding the equipment for a seal row is very rare. You're going to have to really go to a specialized gym to get to a seal row. And I'm going to actually show you guys what a seal row is, so stand by. A seal row, here we go. This is a great image. So a seal row is where you have an elevated bench, you're laying down, and you're pulling a row up from a rack. Right, because of this, it's vertical, right? You are going to get an incredible pump on your lats. And because you're on a bench, you can't cheat. There's no room for cheating. This is probably the best back row exercise there is. The reason it is not an S tier, okay, the reason this is landing in A tier and not S tier is solely because finding the elevated bench for a seal row, God, I've been to dozens of gyms and maybe only one or two have had them. I wish more gyms had a seal row setup, but it's just so rare to find. So for that reason, I just can't put it in A tier. If you know of a gym in the island of Oahu that has a seal row setup, please let me know, because I'd love to get some seal rows work done. Honestly, I'm even going to put an asterisk here. I'm putting the asterisk with seal rows. I want to put seal rows in the S tier so badly, but I cannot in good faith do so when it's, for most people, they're never going to see a seal row setup in their gym. I fucking love seal rows. It's just they're good luck finding one. I don't know why they're not more popular. Let's go. The machine preacher curl. To me, the machine preacher curl is an inferior version of the preacher curl. Yes, you do get uniform tension because the machine preacher curl is usually controlled by a cable as opposed to a barbell, but it's for the same reason I don't like doing cable curls in D tier. That universal pressure does mean you're getting a lot more, you're having to do a lot more work to keep it up at the top with that pump, but to me, it doesn't feel like I'm getting as good of a connection between mind and muscle as I do with a conventional barbell curl. In general, I'm not a huge fan of cable curls. I think cable curls are on average inferior to their dumbbell and barbell counterparts, with a few exceptions. The Bayesian curl is the best in brand for that. The machine preacher curl, yeah, it's okay. Honestly, I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm actually gonna switch these. No, I can't. They're both C tier, to be honest. I love the single Bayesian curl most out of the cable curl exercises and variants, but the machine preacher curl, I don't get the quite as good the mind muscle connection. The Bayesian curl takes a longer time to do. So, and it makes the most sense that there's a majority in C tier anyway. Let's see here. Audience, if you guys have any pull workouts that you'd like in here, now's the time to ask me about them in case I'm maybe missing your favorite or something like that. Face pulls, single pull downs, I've done those. Incline shrugs, pull downs, low rows, yeah, those are chest supported. Cable cross, I've done those. The rear delt pec deck. So the pec deck is the machine you see in the gym where you are coming up like this. Now, a lot of the time, you'll see someone instead facing the machine and doing this. Now, when we look at this, yes, you are getting a pretty good squeeze on the back, your upper back muscles in general. However, what will happen is if you get to a heavy enough point, or you're going to heavy enough weight, you're going to start doing that. And it's a subtle difference, but once you start bending your elbows, it becomes more of a triceps exercise. And a triceps exercise is meant for push day, not for pull day. So the rear delt pec deck, I still occasionally do it, but in general, I would say face pulls are a much better rear delt exercise. I guess I should say not rear delt pec deck, so it should be reverse pec deck. Technically that's a pull exercise, but okay, two actual other ones I'm going to do. This is going to go into A tier and B tier. The reason I'm putting asterisks on these, I don't do these on my pull day. These are leg day exercises. Now, why on earth would I do the Raider pull and the dumbbell pullover on a leg day? Well, it's because I pair them with heavy breathing squats. Now, if you've ever read literature like super squats, the whole point here is that when you hit a squat set properly hard, you're going to be breathing really heavy, just trying to force oxygen into your system, really trying to just jam as much oxygen into your body as possible. Well, the way to expand your chest after the fact is something like a dumbbell light pullover, or even better, a Raider pull. To me, the Raider pull is a superior exercise. You can read the book Super Squats if you want to see why. I actually have it with me. If you guys would like me to read a little bit from that, I can. You know what, actually, let me see if I can grab it real quick. Hang on a sec. Okay. See here, we'll go to the index. Raider chest pulls, 54 and 65. It's the rib cage. Here we go. The furious breathing that is nearly unavoidable when doing a lot of squats with heavy weights, and which you will specifically cultivate, sets the stage for significant rib cage growth. To capitalize on this opportunity, you should immediately follow your squats with a rib cage expansion exercise. These exercises are designed to maximize the growth potential following your heavy leg work. And since they involve light weight or none at all, they should be a welcome break from heaving big iron. The two basic choices, stiff-armed pullovers or Raider chest pulls, both rely on the same principle of stretching the rib cage. To do stiff-arm pullovers, grab a light weight, say 15 or 20 pounds, and lie on a bench. For weight, any of the following will do: a barbell, a dumbbell, a pair of dumbbells, or a barbell plate. Position yourself lengthwise or crosswise, whichever feels better. This refers to the goal of stretching your rib cage and not a general sense of body comfort. The bitter truth is that the most effective exercises for stretching your rib cage are somewhat uncomfortable to perform. It is putting up with a little discomfort, in this case, pays big dividends in terms of advancing muscular growth. Any related growing pains are welcomed by serious trainers. J.C. High's 1941. Take a deep breath, raise the weight over your head, and allow a good stretch to develop as you lower the weight as far as possible. Exhale as you return the weight to the starting position. You don't want your muscles to contract, that would defeat your purpose. The only reason any weight is being used is to facilitate the stretching process. You want to get the very most out of this exercise at the expense of your immediate personal comfort. Perform it in the specialized manner developed by Charles A. Ramsey. Keep your hips on the floor with your upper back supported on a low bench. A less well-known exercise for the same purpose as stiff arm pullovers is the Raider chest pull, Harry Raider, 1951. It takes a bit of learning, but can provide benefits far exceeding standard pullovers. To perform this exercise, grab an immovable object about the height of your head, take a deep breath, and simultaneously pull down and inward. You can use a door jamb, an upright on a power rack, the top of a refrigerator, or just about anything else that is roughly the height of the top of your head and will allow you to pull down and toward yourself. As you pull, you should feel your rib cage arch upward, although you might have to experiment with different grips and polish your technique for maximum benefits. You can do Raider chest pulls with slightly bent arms or straight arms, and as with pullovers, you should try to keep your abdominal muscles from contracting when performing the movement. Properly done, these exercises will produce a definite pulling sensation in the sternum, which is proof that they are working, and you can bring your chest to the point of outright soreness and pain. So use a little prudence and expand your rib cage, but don't torture yourself. Whichever exercise you use, feel free to use it after other exercises beside the squat, as well as in between your regular workouts. Citing their benefits, Dave Draper mixes dumbbell pullovers with nearly everything, 1988. Also, remember that a few minutes of stretching won't offset the negative effects of continuous poor posture. If you don't already have enough good reasons to stand and sit with your back straight, your shoulders back, and your chest up, following this 20-rep squat program will soon give you so much self-pride that you won't be able to avoid it. So the reason I've put asterisks on Raider pulls and dumbbell pullovers is because I don't do them on pull days, but they are technically pulling exercises. They're more stretches than proper exercises in and of themselves, but they produce enough pain to where it feels it. So the Raider pull, for instance, is a very interesting exercise. It's a pulling motion which works a traditional push area, your chest, your rib cage, and I do it on a leg day. So it's really kind of a weird all three type thing. Okay, figured to be on a plane to a mainland. I'm not going home to family. That's how. My family, my younger brother was out here a few weeks ago. My older brother is currently just starting his new job in San Francisco, so he can't come out. Actually, it's in Silicon Valley, but you get the point. And my mom is going to visit my older brother. So there you go. I'm enjoying it here. Kind of like the squat is a full body. I agree. The squat really is a full body exercise masquerading as a leg day exercise. Ryder, that's a very good way to put it. But because they are technically pulling exercises, I went ahead and listed them here. Let me just check, make sure there are no other pull exercises I've missed, but otherwise I think that's going to be it for this stream. Curl, reverse curl, upright rows, face pulls, Meadows rows. Nope. Why is she visiting him and not you? You're way better. Well, two reasons. One, my older brother, again, he's just starting a really high stress job and so wants to make sure he's doing okay. Totally understand that. The second is that given that my mom lives in the Pacific Northwest where it is very cold and depressing and rainy, she wants to come out here when it is the coldest, depressingest, and most rainiest. I did not do English very well there. But that is January. So she's going to be out here in January. That's why. In simplicity. Yeah, it looks like those are all the exercises I can think to list here. If you've got any other pull exercises, let me know. I can, make this list. What I am going to do actually is save or download this. Save the image. We're going to download it. Generated image, show in folder. We're going to not do that. We'll handle that later. But here you go, ladies and gents. Here you go. Here's the list. Really, the biggest ones you got to do are hit your rows and hit your pull-ups in some way or another. Those are your biggest ones on pull day. And hit some form of curl. Really, when it comes to curls, pick the ones that you feel you get the most out of. Not necessarily the easiest, but the ones you feel you get the most out of. For me, that's the incline dumbbell curl and the preacher curl. That's going to be it for me today. I will probably have a Christmas stream for you tomorrow. It may be push day tier list ranking. We'll see. I am going to do a lift tomorrow. Tomorrow's actually going to be a row day. And then Thursday, I am cycling around the entire island of Oahu. It's going to be 133 miles and should basically take me all day. I am excited for it, and I think it is going to be difficult but fun. I've gone 119 in one day before. That's my record. So I think 133 should be doable. I'm going to get up fairly early to start. Want to be kind of on the move by about 5. And then, expect updates in the Discord. I was thinking about making a video out of it, but I can't be bothered. Simple as. I'll probably put it in the Discord. Partner with a gym. My commercial gym is closed for Christmas. So, there's a reason I chose this apartment. I pay more to have that amenity specifically in this apartment. So that was not done on accident. That is going to be it for me today, y'all. I should see y'all tomorrow, but if I don't, Mele Kaliki Maka to all of you. Hopefully you have a wonderful Christmas, either surrounded by family or friends. And if you don't, well, you're welcome to spend some time on my Discord, and you can ask me for a question, and I'll give you a consultation. Just right up there, askmomuscle@gmail.com. Grimsky, you missed it again. Sorry, mate. Well, I'll probably be live tomorrow. Grimsky, if you want to not miss this in the future, get on the Discord and get the ping roll, because you'll always get a notification for that. YouTube notifications can get unreliable. So that is going to be, I thought every apartment in Hawaii had a gym. No. Every building looks so nice and luxurious. Yeah, you're probably looking at Ala Moana and Waikiki. Yeah, I can't afford that. Anyway, you're in the Discord? Well, Grimsky, you should get the ping roll if you don't have that. Definitely get the ping roll. It'll help you. Anyway, that's going to be it for me today. So, as always, y'all, make good decisions. Those good decisions form your actions. Those actions form your habits. Those habits form your values. And those values form an ethos to be the guide star through the rough waters of life. Much love, y'all. Come in for the hug. All right, shoots. See y'all tomorrow. Mele Kaliki Maka.